Namaskar. We would like to welcome you all on behalf of Ayurveda Sector of Excellence and Independent Research Ethics Society. We are here at Central Gurdwara, Khalsa Jatha, Darshan of oldest Gurdwara in London. We are really fortunate enough that Madam is with us. Madam is in charge of the various activities here and looking after Gurdwara, oldest Gurdwara of Europe and Britain. And we have Shri Dr. Amarjeet sir. Amarjeet sir has no need to introduce because he is the star in Ayush, as per my opinion. So to start with, I would like to request Madam to introduce herself as well as to introduce Gurdwara in her sentiments. Then we will make a round of Gurdwara and would like to introduce whole world with the specialities, with the heritage of this oldest Gurdwara of Britain and Europe. Madam.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. My name is Ravi Bakshi, and I'm the operations manager here at Khalsa Jatha. So I look after the day-to-day running of the Gurugar, the staff, and also the activities and events that happen here on a daily and weekly basis. So this Gurdwara is, as Dr. Sharma introduced, it is the oldest and the first Gurdwara in London, in the whole of Europe. We're very fortunate that, it's got very deep history. It was opened by Maharaja Dalip Singh in 1908. He introduced Khalsa Jatha. So it wasn't on this particular site. This site was acquired in 1960, but he had many properties around London. So it was one of his houses that he donated. And the small congregation and the community of the community started the Khalsa Jatha and the Gurugar in the home. And as the community grew, we acquired this property here in Notting Hill. And we've been here since then. I've actually personally been coming here since my childhood. So my parents came over, and as I said, it's the first Gurdwara, and we've got a very large community now, but very close-knit community that everybody seems to know everybody, and from all over the world, not just India, but from all over the world.
So, Madam, I would like to request you to highlight the specialties of this Gurdwara, what activities you are doing and what activities are being conducted here as teaching, as charity and education, whatever it may be, kindly guide us.
So with this Gurukar, it started from students because Maharaja Dalip Singh was a student at Cambridge University at the time. And we have continued with that legacy where we do support and reach out to all students within England, but especially around London. So we've got use the Gurukar for their activities, their debates, their Kirtan Darbar, they do Khanpats here. We also do Langar on campus with them. So, and these are all the red brick university. We've got LSE, Imperial, King's and Queen's University. And so these are Sikh society. They have Sikh societies in each university. So they then, continued with their faith within the university, and we help them and support them with making langar here. They come and make langar, and they take it to the campus for all their fellow students and professors that are there. As well as that, we do continue with education. We do Kirtan classes, Punjabi classes for all youngsters, as well as music classes. With the music, we've got a very experienced and acquired teacher who teaches the Dil Rabab. And, that is one of the oldest instruments that were used with Guru Nanak Dev Ji. So this is the depth that we go into within, the Guru Gar. As well as that, as Dr. Sharma mentioned, we work within the community, the wider community around the Gurdwara, where we supply hot food boxes to homeless, and that goes to the community centres and churches. We do about 1,000 of those every week. This started back in 2020 during COVID when it was locked down and people didn't have food. We supplied to hospitals as well. But we continued, it's been over 5 years now. As well as that, we work again with the wider community where we have well-being workshops. So that can be mental health, that can be yoga, and other art therapies and different types of therapies, which helps all our Sangat, as well as our non-Indians as well. So you will find when you come here that this is the community is very wide and it's very integrated. So it's not just Indians that come on. We have English, Africans, and also people from all around the world, as well as Muslims. They come and they're all very welcome, and they come and have langar, they come and listen to kirtan, and they feel that they're part of our community. So that's, in a nutshell, some of the activities we do.
I'm really grateful to Dr. Amarjeet Singh Bhamra ji, who has introduced Madam with us, and we are here due to his blessings. So I would like to request now Dr. Amarjeet Bhamra sir to take the stage and guide us.
So with your permission, if I may, could I please request Mandip ji
Yes,
to come,
yes,
because
sure.
he's been waiting for a
Please,
while.
please.
And he wants to make his own presentation.
Sure.
So Manjit Paji, you are now in charge.
So
Thank you.
if you just
So namaskar, everybody. So I'm going to give you a little presentation of the history of the Gurdwara, and I think you will find that very interesting.
there's no voice.
So let 1 second.
Usually, can I just go next
Start
door?
the start show.
Just got
So I
visitors.
just want to make sure you can all see that. Okay.
Everything's good with that.
So I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of
back?
the history of the Gurdwara.
Yeah.
And really, it started in 1908 when son Atta Singh Mastwana, who's also the founder of the Gal University in Barusab in Punjab, he had a mission to propagate the Sikh faith, the Sikh Dharam and Dharmic thinking to non-Sikhs in the Western Hemisphere. So at that time, there were 5 young students, Tejas Singh, Amar Singh, Hari Singh, Bhagat Singh and Dharmanand Singh, who came to London in 1906, who enrolled onto universities, University College London, Downing College, Cambridge, and a number of other colleges around universities in London at that time. So Tejas Singh, this gentleman on the right, as you can see, he was one of the key figures in founding the Gurdwara, the Gurukar at that time. So he was a student at University College in London. He found out that Cambridge University, they were not allowing students with turbans to study there. So he dropped out of University College and took up the fight at Cambridge College, at Cambridge. And he won that fight and he was allowed to study with his turban. So he qualified from there, and then after a little while, after staying here and starting the Jatha here, he went on to Harvard University at a later part of his life. The first time the first constitution was actually formed at student accommodation in Cambridge, and this is the house where it was formed at, and it's actually Guru Gobind Singh's Gurpurab on the 10th of July 1908, and the Khalsa Jatha was formed. So they had a program that day, and at the end of it they had an AGM and announced the first constitution, which was this. And they wrote to the local papers, the Times as well, I think it was. They wrote to there, as you did in those days, to to notify of a significant event. And this was the constitution that was at that time drafted by that AGM. And you can see that the first constitution item was to say, the first object was to find means of encouraging Sikh youth of good caliber and ability to receive modern technical education. So that was the original objective of the first time this was set up. From that point onwards, they carried on doing their programs in Cambridge. Then we had Maharaj Bhupendra Singh of Patiala, who came to the UK, and he was here to the Queen's coronation of King George V and Queen Mary, and he had a house in Putney. So at that time, as when royalty used to come to the UK, they would gather all the Sikhs and all the Indians together and say, "What do you need? How are you finding things here? Do you need anything?" Everybody else said, "We're fine." The students and their dressing stood up and said, "We need a Gurdwara in the UK. We have nothing." So the house he was renting out in Putney was cleared out, and moved in the students, and they started their first Gurdwara in that place. And that's where it started off in London. And this is a picture of that house in Putney, and you can kind of see everybody there. And in the middle, you might be able to see the Maharaja wearing a flower garland here. You can see him there. Then 2 years later, as we moved further along, the landlady of that property wasn't really happy that it was being used as a place of worship. So the Maharaja was back in London in 1913, and the students came back and said, "We actually need a permanent location." That's their dressing. And so at that time, the Maharaja agreed to donate £8,000 at that time to purchase a property on number 79 Sinclair Road, which is in Shepherd's Bush, which is very close to the current site of the Gurukar now. And in front, the Nishan sign was placed, and that was the starting of the permanent relocation of the Gurukar in the UK. The building on the left, you can see that's what it looks like. It still exists now, and that's number 79. You can see the number there, and you can see that the two red points here with the heart shape here. This is how far apart they are. They are within 5 minutes of each other. So that was a correspondent. The first committee was actually a very international committee. It was very a lot of Sikh scholars like Ghan Singh Namba and other scholars who formed an international committee, and the Gurukar was actually seen very much as a mission into the West. So it was like an embassy. They saw that as an embassy to direct sort of matters in the West. So if there were any things that need to be done in the UK, or even in the US, they wrote to the committee in London, and the committee in London would then go and act out those orders and suggestions and requests. So they would write further letters or go and see ministers and other things. So that's how it carried on running in the early days. This gentleman here, Max Arthur McCall, is very, very important. So he used to live on Sinclair Road, which was very close to the Gurukar, the first site. He was also very instrumental in part of the Sikh faith, because he, along with Ghan Singh Naba, produced the very first recognized English translation of the Sri Guru Granth Sahib. So he's very, very, very an important figure in this, but he was also instrumental in being able to buy that property, because at that time, Indians were not allowed to buy properties. If you were non-English, non-white, you were not able to buy property. So he actually helped to buy that property, the very first location of the site of the Gurdwara. This gives you a picture of the divan. So when the service were rung, this is what it would look like. And if you look at this picture, you can see, there were European people in the Sangha congregation used to come, and the tradition there was very different. They were wearing hats, which is very different to where it is now. And this is how it would have looked like in those days, in the early days. Then in the 1960s, we found that the site was too small. The congregation was growing hugely. It was a place that everybody came when they came to England. It was the first place where Indians and Sikhs would come and just before they went to anywhere else, this is where they would stop and spend their time. And also in the early days, for the first 30 or 40 years in the UK, there was no other Indian place of worship. There were no mandirs, no mosques or Buddhist centers in the UK at that time. So if you came from India, you went to the Khalsa Jatha British Isles because there was no other Indian place of worship. So Muslims went there, Hindus went there, Buddhists went there, as well as Sikhs. It was the only place where you had an Indian foothold there. This site was a Salvation Army site, which is in the UK. It is known as a citadel, which is basically a castle, built like a castle. It was known as Norland Castle. There's an empty space which the Gurdwara bought in 1963. And if you look at the picture on the left, this is what it would have been looked like in the early days. And the building picture on the right is what the building looked like when we purchased it. And this would have been, this was disused. It was not being used at all at that time. During that time, there was a lot of the area that the Gurdwara is in was full of politics between two different local authorities, and they were fighting for land within the area. And one of the authorities tried to buy the Gurukar, what's known as a compulsory purchase order, which means by law, if they passed that, they were able to buy it. But at that time, the people at the Gurukar, they thought we should start making work on this Gurdwara. So they started to knock it down, rebuild the whole site again to what it looks like now. And because they did that, they were able to save it and stop it from being purchased by the local authority. And that the rest is kind of history there. This is kind of how the Gurukar looked like from 1967 to 2017. And then in 2017, there was a major refurbishment of the Gurdwara. And this is what it looks like nowadays, the modern look of the Gurukar that you see here. So if you look on the left, this is the Divan Hall. And on there, you can see the white dome with the Guru Granth Sahib Ji. And there's a huge chandelier. There's a big story behind that. And on the right, you can see the picture of the Gurudwara, what it looks like at night time with all the nice lights and so on. So there's a huge change in the way the Gurudwara looks and how it now conduct itself. There's lots of important people who've been going through the Gurdwara in the early years. So this gentleman here, Dr. Devan Singh Kalpani, who's an Indian freedom fighter, is also a poet. He spent a little bit of time at the Gurdwara during the early years, during the time of the Indian independence movement. And this Gurukar was central to that, central in the UK of what was going on in India. So the Gurdwara was actually a key point where things were being discussed and talked about, and all the activists used to come to the Gurdwara at that time to talk about how do we get independence, Indian independence. And this gentleman here was one of those who came to the Gurukar. Eventually, he was signed up to the British Indian Army, and he was posted in Japan. He was captured and tortured by the the Japanese in those years. This lady here, very, very important person, Princess Safai Dilip Singh. She was the granddaughter of the last Maharaja of the Punjab, Maharaja Ranjit Singh. Her father, Maharaja Dilip Singh, was brought to the UK when he was 6 years old, when Punjab was annexed by the British, the last part of India that the British took over. He's when he was 6 years, he brought up as a Christian, but he converted back into the Sikh faith later on. Safai Dilip Singh was his eldest daughter. She was also what's known as a suffragette. The suffragettes in the UK, in UK's history, have been key and instrumental in getting voting rights for women in the UK. And the story behind her is a big story. So she was also the goddaughter of Queen Victoria. So Queen Victoria took a big interest in this young lady at that time, and in the suffragette movement, her friends Emily Pankhurst and so on, and the others, they fought for voting rights for women, and every time they were put into prison, Safai Dilip Singh would actually bail them out with jewelry, basically her jewelry. When Princess Safai Dilip Singh was also put into jail, many times she did that because she said, I'm a wealthy woman, the UK government want me to pay taxes, but they won't give me the right to vote. I refuse to pay my taxes. So every time she did that, she was put into prison. And Queen Victoria had a real headache in trying to understand what to do with this. And every time Princess Safai Dilip Singh was thrown into jail, the stories we have heard is that Queen Victoria would send a certain young British lieutenant to get her out of jail, whose name was Winston Churchill. So those are the stories that we've heard. I've not been able to verify this, but that's the stories we've heard about what used to happen. Now, the important part here is that when Emily Pankhurst was in charge, she got votes for wealthy women in 1919. Safai Dalip Singh disagreed. She took over the presidency of the suffragette movement, and 11 years later, she got votes for all women in the UK. So she's very, very instrumental in the UK side. She was part of the Gurdwara, part of the congregation at Shepherd's Bush Gurdwara. A very, very important person in the UK. I'm sure many people will know of Shahid Udham Singh, who carried out, he was also, he carried out the revenge attack on the Jallianwala Bagh massacre in 1919. And the picture on the left is what it used to look like, and the picture on the top right here is the Shahid Udham Singh at the Gurukar making prashad rotis in the Langar hall, helping to serve the Sangat congregation. And on the bottom right is when he shot President General Dwyer. This is the picture in the Times that came out when he was arrested by it, and he said, he ran by the name that his name was Ram Muhammad Singh Azad, to represent all the people that he was fighting for to get revenge and justice for. So another very important person who used to come to the Gurdwara as well. This young man, Hardik Malik Singh, another important person. He's a past president of the Gurdwara. He went to Oxford College Balliol, and he was the very first Indian fighter pilot, the turbulent Indian fighter pilot in the Indian Army at that time. Sorry, in the British Army. And there's a lot of long stories around him. And he fought with the Red Baron who's an infamous German fighter pilot at that time, and he lost to him. He came back, managed to get back across the line and make it back to the UK. But during his time as a fighter pilot, he had claimed 6 kills during World War One. So he's really instrumental because he was the very first Indian who was part of the Royal Air Force at that time, in the British Air Force, Royal Flying Corps, they were called at that time. Another really important person is Teja Singh Malik, which is the elder brother of Hardik Singh Malik. He's also past president of the Gurdwara, but he was the architect of Connaught Place in New Delhi. So he designed the whole of Connaught Place in New Delhi. So, so another really important person who's been put into the Gurdwara. Dr. Kushwant Singh, so many people will know him as a famous writer, a columnist and author, and so he's also been part of the Gurdwara community in the years that he was around. This person here, really, really important man, Dr. Narinder Singh Kabani. He got a PhD in fiber optics at Imperial College. So he's known as the father of fiber optics. He did his PhD, he did his master's in the UK, and he went on to the US to complete his PhD to develop fiber optics. And we all know how important fiber optics are throughout the world right now. And that's him getting married at number 79 Sinclair Road. You can just see the number 79 on the left, or to the left of him there. So today, where are we? We are, we see ourselves as a center of excellence, best practices, risk management, operational excellence. We promote the spread of Dharam. Dharam is what we want to, that is our primary objective. We will have talks and subject matter experts and academic talks that we do at the Gurdwara going forward. We also have a number of blue sky projects, which are really far-thinking future projects with some very bright group of youngsters, and we're encouraging to do things out of the box. We do lots of new events, events with lots of different people, lots of kirtan, lots of health, well-being events, lots of lectures that we do. So we've done talks on federalism in India, some lectures on different types of Bani, and different types of talks that we might do as well. The Gurdwara is the oldest Gurdwara outside of India, and it's probably the most historical. It is older than the Indian state, and it has an international presence. So it is seen. It is probably the only Gurdwara in the world that's seen to be like an embassy Gurdwara, because everybody who comes to the UK, they will always visit the Shepherd's Bush Gurdwara first of all. So that's kind of all I wanted to talk about. I hope you found that interesting. And Dr. Sharmaji, I'd be happy to take any questions if you have any questions from that presentation.
Very nicely explained, sir. Really, you have guided so well that there is no opportunity to question anything. But as Madam Ravi told us that you are doing various activities here, great, sir. In your opinion, what activities are continued and what is to be progressed in for future? So now I hand over the mic to Dr. Amarjeet Singh Bhamra ji. Please, sir.
Thank you. Well, I mean, I don't really need to be here because Mandip Paji has and Ravi Panji has said everything that needs to be said. But I'm just really so gobsmacked, really, Mandip Paji. You know, the architecture of our political intervention here in the UK by the Sikh community. As far as way back, as you've sort of highlighted. But were there also any other people of importance other than Sikhs who used to come and play a vital role here in the
There are other people as well from different communities. I won't be able to list them at the moment, but there were certainly other people from different faith groups used to come here at that time, especially around the time of the Indian independence movement. And this was really a hotbed of political activity and activism at that time. And the Gurdwara at that time was under the watchful eyes of the security forces, the British security forces, as you could understand, and so this was the place, if you were an activist, this is the place you went to because you would get all the information and the support you needed to continue your activities. So there are a number of other people. I have to apologize because I can't give you any names of those right now.
Yeah. So, I mean, the whole operation initially, as I understand, to set up this Khalsa Jatha, at what stage did it actually become Gurdwara?
Well, it's the name has always been Khalsa Jatha. I mean, the Gurdwara is just a generic term that we use for a Sikh place of worship. So the name of this place has always been a Gurdwara. Actually, in the early days, this was called a Dharamsala. And really, it's more modern times that people are starting using the word Gurdwara. But the actual name of the organization is Khalsa Jatha, British Isles.
Very good. Very good. Absolutely fascinating. That's really wonderful. Ravi Panji is coming back and she just wants to talk a little bit more about, what's happening in this very spiritual facility. So I'd like to invite Ravi Panji to please come back. Thank you. Yeah.
Hello again. We also, as well as the Gurukar, we have a upstairs hall, which we're sitting in at the moment, and it's used for extensive classes and workshops. So it's a space where young people and all walks of life and all ages can come and use it. So here we do have our yoga classes. We have, I forgot to mention, we do school visits. So these school visits are from all the local boroughs around London and even outside of London. These are from primary school age, from about 4 up to 18 and above, for up to university. And we do about up to 7-8 visits a week. And then with the education team, they do a lovely presentation, tour of the Gurdwara, and then they have langar as well. And these are children coming from, all different sort of cultures. They're not all Indian. So, it's an education that is studied at school as part of their curriculum, which is religious education, and they study Sikhism. And this is where we come in and, you know, open our doors to them and show them what Gurdwara is and how it works, and also, you know, how we, as a faith, do our prayers and do our seva, which is obviously the essence of who, you know, we are as Sikhs. On top of that, I mean, we're talking about nearly 400 children a week come through the doors. And then, you know, I said, just from all over England, not just London. On top of that, we have a beautiful library, which has been totally refurbished, and it's got a wealth of literature in Punjabi and in English. And I think some of the books that are quite historic and, you know, over 100 years old. They are available to the public on, you know, on request, but it's not open to take. And then we have a lot of books that are informative and books that we give away free to Sangat on different aspects of our faith as well, on religion, and on living on a day-to-day sort of life guidance. So that's that. And one of my other roles here is as a wedding coordinator. We do Anand marriages here practically every week, especially during the summer. So we have up to 30 weddings a year, as well as doing the civil marriages. So, which is lovely, and it's really nice being part of the Sangat and you know, their family. So, and it's the beginning of their new phase of their life. So the Nand garages are very, very important here. And as you know, as a Guru Garda, we do baths, and the baths, which are, you know, lovely because it celebrates each milestone of their life. So, you know, we may have a birth, we have a birthday, we have weddings, we just have shukranas, and then as well as that, also funerals as well. So that's the circle of life, and this is all sort of conducted here. So that's, you know, it's lovely to be part of people's lives and their journeys. And then we have several generations that attend, not just, you know, one generation. We have like 4 generations of people from same families, but right across the board. And again, being part of, they are part of our Sangha. They are our community. So that's great. So
Excellent, madam. Excellent. Means these services are to be provided for the society, and your Gurdwara is great that you are conducting the teaching session, charity session, weddings, civil marriages. What else required? Great, great, madam. Amarjeet sir.
Yeah. Yeah, so I just wanted to make a point that last year, as you know, that we had a 2-day marvelous summit on Ayurveda integrative healthcare here in this very facility, in this very room. So it was a marvelous 2-day event, and the target audience was the NHS, and Panji was here, and she very kindly looked after us, and you know, the best possible way. I mean, there are still vibrations coming from those delegates and saying, when are we coming back to to this Gurdwara Ji Sahib? And also want to congratulate Mandip Paji. You know, he has been extremely instrumental. It is with his vibration that, you know, we looked at this as a possible venue for a major conference that we did here, as I said, last year. And also that he has been you know, leading me for the registration of the Ayurveda Center of Excellence, which has become a registered charity. And I think perhaps without Mandip Paji's involvement in this, it may have taken a lot longer, if not, maybe not at all. But I'm absolutely honored, you know, to have the association with Mandip Paji, Ravi Panji, and all the amazing Sevadas here at the Gurdwara Sahib. And also just to remind you that, you know, I mean, maybe this is a coincidence, I don't know, that the program, you know, that And that last year was also my first visit here, although I've been here so many years. But this was my first visit here, and then we came in with the big bang to establish, the initiative for healthcare. And you'll be surprised to know, Ravi Panji, that 50 years ago from last year
Yeah.
was the first time my father
Oh, wow.
actually came into the Gurdwara Sahib. Now, I don't know, which facility it might have been, but 50 years ago in 1974,
That's
that he
incredible.
actually arranged, there was a big community gathering celebrating the birth anniversary of Maharaja Jassa Singh Ramgarhia. And at that time, I mean, that's 50 years ago. And I still think, Mandip Aji, I might somewhere in the archives, I might have that picture when he's, in full blast with his mic and, at the Gurdwara here, and many Sikhs. And so that's another photo that hopefully you can put in your history books, and so thank you so much indeed. It was really wonderful, and it was, I thought, a good opportunity for Dr. Ambassador Pavan Sharma ji to be here while he's on this. He came here specifically for the United Nations International Yoga Day celebrations that we had, that the All Party Parliamentary Group, together with the Ayurveda Center of Excellence, conducted so majestically on Tuesday, the 17th of this month. And I was so grateful that Mandip Aji was there with us, and he spoke very eloquently about the concept of the Sikh faith and healing in the faith. So that was very good. And so Sharma ji came all the way from Kolkata to UK to attend those celebrations, and he's now sort of on his way back. And we wanted to meet up today, and he said, "What is it? What can we do? I don't want to go to any tourist site or anything like that." So I said, "Well, I think we should come here and seek darshan of this Gurdwara Sahib and meet the principal movers and shakers of this establishment." And thank you, Mandip Aji. Thank you, Panji, for letting us be here and inviting Sharma ji here.
My one request is there. My one request is there. You and sir, please have a quick look on Gurdwara. Dr. Mamita Sharma will be assisting you to shoot that, and that will come live. That what our
Yeah,
Gurdwara
we can
is.
go downstairs. We can
Right,
do that.
right.
But in the meanwhile, this is on behalf of Khalsa Jatha. We like to present you. First of all, we're honored to have you here. I'd like to present you with the medallion, which is Khalsa Jatha. And this is the original kunda that was created in 1908.
Right.
So this is, there you go. This is for you. Thank you.
सामने से लो ना फोटो, सामने से वो छोड़ दो. Thank you very much, madam. Thank you very much. Thank you, Amarjeet sir. Thank you for everything. Thank you very much. ममिता जी साथ में जाइए, और मैं यहाँ से ऑपरेट कर रहा हूँ, वो फिर लंगर नहीं चले जाइएगा सीधे.
We just want to film around the group. That's one.
क्या क्या है पूछ तो.
No, I said you can if you want to come to live.
हाँ कैमरा ऑन कर.
Sharma ji, are you coming? No?
Yes, madam is coming with you. I am coming after changing the webinar in.
You will come, maybe.
Thank you, Mandip sir. Thank you very much. Really great experience. You have explored total, complete, perfect history of the Gurdwara. Great. आप देख रही हैं, उल्टा कर ली.
Thank you.
Now, quick tour of Gurdwara is there.
filming, we have podcasts up here as well. And then it's a reference library open to the public here. And I use it to do my work here as well. So, beautifully restored and very well historically kept. The boss of which you want to do something into it. And we have fresh and prepared every single day here, and it's open from in the morning until 8 o'clock. After we finish and we close. And again, all throughout the day, we have singers coming and having longer. And this is where the kitchen, where the preparation happens. Fresh food is ordered throughout the week, and we have a lot of donations as well from our singers. Whether it's food or it's anything.
Excellent, very hygienic. Great, madam. Great. Thank you. Thank you very much, madam.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
Anji, Dr. Sharma, if you want to come downstairs, we're in
Yes,
the Langar Hall.
I'm coming in
It's in the basement, so please come and join us for Langar. Thank you, Ji.
I'm coming in 2 minutes. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm coming in 2 minutes. Don't worry.